Hi everyone, Jonathan Braden with the Laudato Si Movement podcast here. It has been a while since we recorded, but we are pleased to have a new podcast, new video, new podcast, new audio, everything for you today. We have a special guest as always, joining us, Sister Kate Midgley, and we're going to talk about, she's a Laudato Si animator, a Columban sister, and we're going to talk about the work she's doing at Beyond Fossil Fuels Together and her background as a Laudato Si animator and why she feels called to do this work with so much going on in the world. So, Sister Kate, thanks so much for joining the Laudato Si Movement podcast. How are you?
Thank you very much. Lovely to be here talking to you.
How's everything in the UK?
Well, as I mentioned, these 2 weeks we're having a Beyond Fossil Fuels Together vigil, and of course, very much aware of the whole situation in Ukraine, as is everybody in the world, and praying for the whole situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to back up, or yeah, what? Tell us. I've read some about Beyond Fossil Fuels Together. People have probably heard about the 24-hour prayer vigil. Started the 6th and goes until the 20th, so Sunday, I believe, right? Yeah, Sunday. Um, what is it about? How did you hear about it? And why did you feel called to take part and go from there?
Well, so the movement, I heard about it from some friends, and it's a new group put together. And I suppose it's something to do with continuing the momentum of COP, um, that we can't just let things, we have to keep going. And so I heard about it from friends. And when I heard that the idea of this group was to gather together as many different kinds of groups, different faiths, different philosophies, and that we would all sit in vigil together outside the parliament. And the title Beyond Fossil Fuels Together, it also reminded me of the banner that we had when we were in Glasgow for the COP, the banner of the Laudato Si movement, um, stand with the Pope, stand up to fossil fuels. So I thought how wonderful it would be if the Laudato Si movement could support this group Beyond Fossil Fuels Together. And so I contacted our Magda European coordinator, and anyway, very happy to, Laudato Si movement, very happy to support this movement. So we have the banner, um, and so we take it every time I go. We take it to the vigil. Yeah, so that's, and I'm motivated to take part in the vigil because we need to, make this, as we all know, we need to make this transition to renewable energy at a very rapid pace if we are to attempt to keep within 1.5 degrees of warming. We have to make a rapid transition. So the more we can raise awareness in the general public and in ourselves about the need to make this transition, the better.
Mm-hmm. And this group you mentioned, Beyond Fossil Fuels Together, it's Laudato Si Movement is participating in this as well, and it's not only faith groups, right? It's other. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's all groups just committed to
Yes.
moving beyond fossil fuels and creating a cleaner future for all. What are some of the and when you go, how often you've been going, and what are you exactly doing?
Well, I've been there today. I'm going later on today. That will be my sixth time going there. And so when I go, I go there with I have a folding stool. Everybody takes their something to sit on, and I sit there and pray. But it kind of in the handovers between different, because we have a rota, because this vigil goes on 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I must confess, I haven't done a night. Some people are
Oh,
very brave and are there through the night.
We'll let that
Um,
slide. We'll let that slide. No.
so when arriving there, there's the opportunity to talk with other people who are there, which has also been a very inspiring thing. For example, the other day I met this lady who is a midwife, and she's been a midwife for 30 years. And she's given up full-time midwifery because once she grasped the gravity of the climate crisis, she realized she needs to devote more energy to this. And as she said to me, she said, Leo, I've delivered so many babies during my years as a midwife. And I feel that this is a continuation of my duty of care to those babies that she's delivered. I thought it was so beautiful, such a, such an inspiration.
Wow, definitely, yeah. And she dropped her career. I mean, she's doing this full time
Basically,
then,
well, she
right? Yeah.
said since the COP, she hasn't worked at all,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. Wow, what commitment, obviously. And you probably hear and see similar stories of, I mean, I'm sure everyone, if you talk to everyone participating, they all just feel so compelled and called to, this is the most important thing they could be doing, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what we've been fortunate to showcase your story on our channels before, but for people who haven't, the one person in the world who hasn't watched the video and read the story, no, that was a joke. I'm sure there's more than one. But why do you feel? What is your, your kind of why? Why work against the climate crisis? Why spend hours? It's not a balmy weather, I'm sure, not exactly comfortable weather as well. Why spend hours? Why pray for this? Why work for this? What's motivating you?
Well, as I shared with you before, um, it was Good Friday of 2019, while watching the TV program by David Attenborough, Climate Change: The Facts, that I realized the gravity of the climate emergency and the need to do something. And it was a real revelation, a real conversion moment for me. And I suppose it was in a kind of a tipping point. It's been building up. Um, so I'm getting on in life, and I just feel that the rest of my life, I won't suffer the greatest effects of climate change, but people younger than me will. And the people living in the global south already are. I mean, we're a missionary congregation. We have sisters in the Philippines, for example, who are already, I mean, routinely there's huge super typhoons, and so many people are dying already. So many countries of the world, it's becoming too hot to sow their seeds. Um, so it is a huge moral issue, the moral issue of our time. And so that's why I just feel every breath I have the rest of my life to do all I can to help to raise awareness. And as someone said to me the other day, with each person we meet, maybe it's like a bucket with water, and you never know what is the moment that for that person that the bucket is going to overflow, that they'll kind of get it and realize they too need to do something. So every little conversation we can have is like a little drop that we can add to that bucket.
I like that analogy. Yeah, just a drop here, a drop there, and you never know when it'll overflow. You don't know how full their bucket is, right?
Okay.
What what happened when you were watching that then? Just to slow it down a little. You're watching the David Attenborough film. What happened? You saw something. What happened exactly?
I realized that global warming, actually global heating, is happening, and unless we stop it, we're going to change the whole climate of the earth for thousands of years. and once we do it, it's kind of irreversible. So that part just hit me. For everybody, it will be a different thing that just touches them. But that we in our generation have the power to do something. We need to do something. Otherwise, the whole climate of the Earth will be changed for thousands of years. And for the sake of intergenerational justice, we have a moral responsibility for the lives of people in the global south now and for future generations.
And you had been doing work for, missionary work all over the world, right? For decades. But before you saw that before something happened, before something kind of clicked within you, that it wasn't a huge concern, right? The climate crisis and everything that was happening.
Yeah, I mean, I was working as a missionary in South America, and then later on in China. And so I had lived in, and also I have lived in the Philippines. And in many of those places, the primary concern was, people, you heard the cry of the poor. And I suppose the cry of the poor was in many ways very overwhelming, and how to respond to the cry of the poor. I didn't realize, so I didn't hear so much the cry of the earth at that time. So it's only recently that I have realized how the two are connected, cry of the poor and the cry of the earth. And it is the poor in the world who are suffering the most of this. The Industrial Revolution started in this country, in the UK. We didn't know at that time what we were doing, but surely we in this country need to take a lead in reversing what was started with the revolution.
And now you see them as one of the same. The cry of the earth, the cry of the poor,
Yes,
one of the same.
connected.
After you had that moment, that kind of the beginning of your ecological conversion, as we would say, what happened then? Then what did you do?
So I was continuing my usual ministry here in the UK with refugees and women who've been trafficked. Then when lockdown came, all those things were curtailed. So I was able to spend more time in learning more about the climate and ecological emergency. I did the Laudato Si Animators course. So I reached the decision then that this is the issue. So I must really devote the majority of my energies into this, and maybe leave to some extent some of the other things I was doing. So doing the Laudato Si Animators course was great, and to be connected with the Laudato Si Animators in the UK and worldwide has been a great blessing. And I just feel the energy of, I just feel there's such a wonderful energy and potential in the Laudato Si movement. The fact that it is truly global and hopeful.
Yeah. What for people why did you feel compelled to take the Laudato Si Animators course? Of course, for people who aren't familiar, it's a course I've taken as well. Anyone can take it, and it helps you, it equips you with the tools you need to kind of lead your community to care for our common home, to bring Laudato Si to life. And why did you want to take it, and what were your thoughts on the course and everything?
Well, obviously, I wanted to learn more about the encyclical Laudato Si, and which was great, and I definitely was very helpful in achieving that goal, what was really such maybe made even more impact was the fact that I was doing this course together with people from all over the world. And like you were in the intimacy of a small group of maybe 5 people with people from, I remember having in our group a seminarian from the Sudan, and he sharing that they couldn't sow seeds because it was too hot. You know, you're hearing in the intimacy of a small breakout group what it is actually like now as a result of the climate crisis in the global south. So that was very powerful, even though it was just short times in little breakout rooms, but that was very powerful, as well as, of course, all the speakers.
So in the
Um,
course, you were kind of connected with everyone around the world, and you were,
yeah,
yeah, immersed in
yeah,
it. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead. What else about the course stood out?
Well, again, the global nature of the Laudato Si movement, and and also some of the speakers, very, very inspiring, very, very inspiring. Um, and how so many people, the example of so many people worldwide really, really committed to taking action. And as I say, before the Laudato Si movement was called the Global Catholic Climate Movement, and the global bit, um, as I say, is there's such potential.
Yeah, back in the day, the Global Catholic Climate Movement slash last year, but yeah. um, yeah, and we should mention obviously registration is open right now for Laudato Si Animator program. You can go to laudatosianimators.org. Let me triple check that actually. I'm pretty sure that's right. I'm gonna do it right now while we're talking. Laudato Si. Yes, laudatosianimators.org. Got a little nervous there. I was putting the wrong one. But laudatosianimators.org. You can sign up to take part. The free 6-week course really gives you all the tools you need to learn to lead your community. Free leadership development course, and in which you'll like you said, Sister Kate, you'll connect with people around the world who are also looking for that like-minded community to help them lead creation care efforts. So since that Laudato Si Animator training, then what other ways have you been able to use it and to bring it to life in your community?
Well, since the course, animators in England and Wales, we have regular meetings every 2 weeks. So we share experiences, share petitions, and also last year, the group as a whole organized a 6 weeks Lent course that received 900 registrations, um, using a film Global Healing from the Bishops' Conference here. And that's the group as a whole. Myself personally, I started a Laudato Si gardening group in our parish, and we work in the parish garden. And at the end, after doing the gardening, we reflect on Laudato Si, very often usually outside in the parish garden. Also, I'm involved with other groups. So doing the Laudato Si Animators course has given me a very good background on the encyclical Laudato Si. And it is appreciated by people of all faiths, really, very much so.
Definitely, and you're obviously advocating for a cleaner and more resilient future by participating in the Beyond Fossil Fuels Together, in front of the Westminster Parliament, and different things at COP26. You were there with the vigil as well, and marching. So all sorts of things, all sorts of powerful activities that you've been able to take part in. after the Laudato Si Animators training. So,
And if I could add as
yeah,
well
yeah.
about the Laudato Si Action platform, trying to take, well, we have taken steps within our own religious congregation. We've registered to take part in the Laudato Si Action platform. And also within the parish, I've talked to our parish, little baby steps, something as simple as talking to him, could we have a prayer for care of the environment at every Sunday Mass? So he has begun that, which is a small little step, but if it's something that people are hearing Sunday after Sunday, that this is something that we need to pray for, hopefully then it will also move people to action as well. So within the local church as well, trying to promote amongst people what is the Laudato Si Action platform in a small way, and also amongst the conference of religious, promoting the vigils as well. I mean, religious very often say that the one thing we can do is pray. So you can pray in your own community, but as I often remember Lord Deben, the chairman of the UK Committee on Climate Change, he said that, and he happens to be a Catholic, he said that the Catholic Church needs to be very visible and very determined in this issue of climate change. And so I think this thing of being visible is important. Yeah, very visible and very determined.
Well said. Well, thank you so much, Sister Kate. It's always a pleasure to talk. Lovely to chat. Hopefully, all of us will be able to meet up in the near future as well. So, again, on Laudato Si Animators, you can go to laudatosianimators.org to join Sister Kate and thousands of others all across the world in leading your community to take action for creation. And we leave you with Alleluia by Luca Torana.